Happy Friday. As you can hear, you're listening to the Gareth Cliff Show, and I'm Michael Flax with Simphiwe. We start the show with a hypothesis.
Yes.
Gareth overslept. This is my hypothesis. There was a mad storm last night, like insane. It woke me up. My hypothesis is that it woke Gareth up, and that caused him to be really tired this morning, and he might have missed his alarm. But he's going to join us as soon as he wakes up. So it's sort of like we're starting with the Flax Friday again, and the Flaxes are taking over the airwaves. If you haven't heard already, we've got Matt Flax on like 947. We've got Mike Flax on Cliff Central. My kids are likely to own the SABC as soon as they're born. We're just taking over all the airwaves in PUA.
I love it. It is the Flax takeover, and I'm here for it. How have you been, Flax?
Oh, I cannot complain. I feel like I'm glowing. I've recently moved into a new house. As you can see, my background's a bit more organized than usual. The only reason is because I haven't unpacked. But as soon as I unpack, we'll be back into chaos.
Oh, nice. Those are nice life problems. When did you move in?
Last week, Wednesday. So very, very recent. So people, have you frozen over there? Okay, it seems like we've lost a connection with Simphiwe. Now we're just down to plain Flax Friday.
No, I'm back. Sorry. The internet connection. You're telling me when you moved in?
I moved in last week, Wednesday.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So like fresh. Let me tell you, you start getting used to new sounds. I'm no longer by the highway. First night I slept here, I nearly slept through my alarm because there's no sound of these rushing cars in the morning. The dogs are different. Like you don't have two dogs on the left-hand side of your house. There's only like one small chihuahua my neighbor has. So I'm like not getting woken up by barks in the morning. They obviously leave work around about like 8:30. So like I'm not getting woken up by their car. It's like a whole different experience I'm getting used to. But let me tell you, I figured this out real quick, and everyone has to agree with me on this. You don't buy a house. You buy someone else's problems. Every day I'm trying to fix over here. From this light not working to this door not closing to this pool pump not working. It is ridiculous.
Oh, wow. And do you stay on your own? So is this like you being Mr. Independent? Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying my hardest. Let me tell you, last night I walked into a washing line and I got this big bump on my head. So staying on my own isn't working so well.
So I was speaking to someone yesterday, and she's also staying on her own for the first time. And she's like, there are days where she does not utter a single word, where it's just her thoughts, and some food now and again. Is that the case for you at the moment, Flax?
I feel like I might get there further on in the line. There's just too much to be done at the moment that I'm constantly busy. Like I have to go to the shops all the time just to fill the fridge or like fill the pantry. Like I had nothing. You move in and you all of a sudden got a dishwasher and you need to go buy dishwasher tablets. And then this dishwasher it's like feeding a baby. There's dishwasher salts you have to put in. Then there's dishwasher tablets. Then there's dishwasher liquid. It's like constantly finding out what this dishwasher needs. And I haven't moved on to the washing machine. Then the washing machine needs this and needs that. And it's constant work. I feel like I'm like, this house owns me now, and I'm just an employee of this house. As soon as it starts crying and something doesn't work, I got to jump up and fix it. Like yesterday, the curtain rail broke. Now I'm trying to figure out what pulley system to buy for the curtain rail.
You know what song comes to mind? Growing up, and growing up.
One of my friends asked me where I'm living, which area I'm living. So I'm like, no, I'm in the hood now. I'm proper in the hood. And he's like, which hood? I was like, adulthood. Like every day is a constant issue.
Yeah, it's a new struggle. It's a new thing. I was telling a friend that like I feel like my life revolves around running errands. Like every weekend, there's an errand that I need to run. There's something I need to get done, and it's important. If I don't do it, then havoc is going to just take place. Like I still need to pay for my disc, my car disc, and I haven't done that.
Ooh. No, do that because Roblox City season coming up. But do it online. What bank you with?
I'm with ABSA, not the greatest bank of all time.
I don't
And
know how you do it on Insta, but definitely just do it online. My bank, I literally fill out online and they deliver to me in like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Do you know how long this thing is? I need it immediately. I need to go into the post office and get it immediate. It's yay. So this past weekend I got stopped, right? And because
Mhm.
I know how to just smile and act dumb, I was like, really? It's expired? I didn't know. Malums. Like I'm gonna pay for it now. But please, just one chance. That thing's been expired for like 3 months. I know that.
Oh, you got to get on that. But like, get a constant calendar reminder or something. There's like so many places that do it for you. Even there's like two things I hate: driving
Okay.
with an expired license disc
Mhm.
and an expired license. I panicked the other day when my um, passport expired, and that is
Really?
an. I mean, to get it renewed was an actual. It was a breeze once I passed the system. Now, let me tell you, our system to renew the passport does not work, but everything beyond the system somewhat works efficiently.
What you lie? What do you
Yeah,
mean it
renew the
doesn't
some.
work? So, because I
Like,
remember when I got my passport, I did it online. It was so seamless. Within 2 weeks, I was done and I had gotten my passport. Now you're telling me that if I had to renew that, it's going to be a uphill of issues.
listen, mine was uphill issues. First of all, I couldn't get the one-time PIN. All of a sudden, they're no longer sending one-time PINs to telecom users. So now I had to change my cell number to a friend's number just to get the one-time PIN. Then I like made a, then I paid, but then I couldn't get a booking at a branch to go do biometrics. Eventually, I booked it like, I think I went to like the center of town and then did biometrics there and then had to go collect it. But then there was like a 6 hour long line to collect it. It was just, it was a terrible experience. But as I opened up the book and I saw I only have to renew in like another 10 years, I've never been happier in my, it's like literally like going to the shops and buying an ice cream type of happy. Like
Well,
just
I love it
joy.
for you. I love that for you. I think that's just absolutely struggles that I don't think I'm gonna relate to anytime soon. But yeah. So besides moving into your new place, have you done a housewarming yet?
I don't even have a table or chairs. Like when I tell you I
That's the
moved in
whole
last
point.
Wednesday, I didn't
No,
have
that's the whole
anything. Like
point.
I
Guys,
was
that's the whole
living
point of a housewarming, is so that you get things for the place and we see that, okay, Flax has moved into this nice apartment. He's still starting out. Like it mustn't be all glitz and glam, because then what are we gonna buy you?
very true. There's like certain things that I really want. Like I keep losing my keys, and I really just want something to hold my keys as I walk in the door. I want the small things in life, like a doormat and like a key holder.
Yes. Yes. I don't believe in buying people like big things for their place because, you're going to see that every day.
Hmm.
And what if that's not your aesthetic? But I definitely believe in like buying them the small things that they wouldn't think of, like the house mat or, a plant if they're into plants. I don't know, like a bottle of wine as well. Okay, that's not a proper gift, but
It's
like,
like you bring
yeah,
a bottle of wine to someone's house, and you're like hoping they're going to open it at the same
yes.
time to kind of give
Yes,
mine.
you're like, "This is my drink that I bought for myself. I'm just
Yeah,
using you as an excuse to drink it."
I must say one thing the previous owner didn't tell me about this house was it's like BYO everything. So like bring your own electricity, bring your own water. There's like never water in this area. They're fixing the pumps. So I had
Mhm,
to get a guy to come put in a JoJo tank for me. Otherwise, I'm 3 days without water. There's never
mhm.
electricity. I have load shedding for 7.5 hours a day. That's like ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
You might as well put your house on top of a mountain and cut the electricity and water and say, here we go, Flax, enjoy life. Oh, it doesn't sound so bad.
Yes. Yeah. But you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna enjoy the peace, your space. You're gonna enjoy the fact that
Mm.
you get to kick people out. I don't know if you're much of a cook, but if you enjoy cooking or
No.
baking, you're gonna be in that kitchen, for most days.
Can I introduce you to the greatest thing invented since like Netflix?
Tell me.
It goes by
Spring
the
it on me.
term. and like go out and purchase one today or like wait for Black Friday. Every household in South Africa should own this device, and it's called an instant pot. You can cook in it, you can fry in it. It then turns into a pressure cooker. You make stews in like 20 minutes. You can make like lamb that falls off the bone in literally 30 minutes. It is the greatest invention since the light bulb. Okay, that might be a bit dramatic, but it is a really good invention.
Wait, what? So it's
It is
instant
phenomenal.
pot.
And
And you
it's
can
just
do
that.
how big is it?
It's sort of like maybe like 20 centimeters deep and like the normal width of like a pot. And
Okay.
as Congo Chris says over here, and I have to agree with you over here, an instant pot is better than an air fryer. You can do
What?
more
Oh my
than
word.
an air
That
fryer.
is breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pity Lamang is not here to defend herself against these accusations about the Instant Pot being better than the air fryer. What?
It's just, you can make the stews, you can make the rice, there's just everything you can do in an instant pot. Before you put the lid on, it's now like a fryer, not a fryer, like a normal pan where you can just like shallow fry and saute meat and onions, etc.
So Tracy over here is saying that the Instant Pot is a pressure cooker. So I know what a
100%.
pressure cooker is.
No,
Okay.
spot on. Tracy, spot on. But the thing is, it's only a pressure cooker in my eyes once you put the lid on. If the lid's not on, you can still saute like it's a normal like frying pan. And it has the saute function. What's like in your house? It's like something you think is the bee's knees.
I don't know. I have an ice cream maker, and
Ice cream maker.
yes, I have an ice cream maker. I have a waffle maker. I do want to get a donut maker, and I think those are the only things that I need in my life. Like I don't like cooking. I really don't. I know how to cook, but I don't enjoy it. But I enjoy baking, and I also love ice cream. Ice cream is the answer to everything, y'all. So I got myself an ice cream maker, and I make myself ice cream.
My brother now makes ice cream. He literally makes ice cream, like maybe like 7, 8 different flavors, and he's selling it in Joburg and selling it in Cape Town.
Okay, so that's what I need to do with my life. Start selling the ice cream I make. Thank you so much, Flax. I did not know that that would be a side hustle.
With your phone on you, you've got to go check how dope this is. He's like proper making gelatos, and he's importing it from like Italy. He imports the mixture from Italy and everything. It's called, I'm going to give him a shameless punt over here. But if you go
it's not
on
like we
Instagram,
can stop you.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Go on Instagram and follow him. It's Mio Gelato. So it's OH_Mio, MIO_Gelato, GELATO. And you can see the dopest ice creams that he's making. And he started it in Joburg. He first started bringing in the mixture and like testing, started it in Joburg. And now people in Cape Town are wanting it. So he figured out the logistics and he now sells it to Cape Town as well. There, Ryan James Tinlin has now put up the link to his Instagram page. Oh my God, that was so quick.
Oh, wow. Shout out to you, Ryan.
But yeah, it's very good. Very, like we're heading towards ice cream season and like
yes,
there's some key players in the market and he's really coming in hot.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna try him. Definitely going to give that a try. It is Friday, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm curious to know, what are you gonna be up to, Flax, this weekend?
Oh, I'm going to the bush this weekend, eh? I'm very, very excited. Yeah, I'm going to, I don't know what to expect because it's a bit, it's 100% the bush, but it's too close to home to think I'm going to see the maddest sightings. I'm going to Dinokeng.
Okay, where's that?
Dinokeng's about an hour and a half drive from Johannesburg. If I'm correct, it is just past Pretoria. But the thing is, they have the big 5. So I don't think it's going to be like a Kruger or a Madikwe, but I think I'll probably see like your common animals. But I'm very excited. I need a getaway this week. I don't know about you, but this week has been like 4 weeks in one. I feel like everyone decided from next week or like from next month, we're starting to slow down and relax for the end of the year. And everyone just jam-packed it now into this week. Like work was hectic. The move was hectic. It was just, I need a break. I proper need a break. And
Oh,
you?
so there's this weekend is quite packed. My best friend is getting Lobola'd tomorrow, so I'm excited about that. Um,
Wait, explain how that works.
So what happens in the Black community is that we don't really have an engagement, right? So what happens is that if I'm dating you, Flex, you'll write a letter to my family that you'd like my hand in marriage, and then my family will pick a date when your family can come to kind of negotiate my worth, I would say, but that's dowry as we. That's another term for it.
Mhm.
And they'll pick a date. Your family will come to my place, they'll have conversations on how much the lobola should be. There's a bit of a back and forth. And once they've agreed on amount and they leave like some sort of deposit or pay most of it or all of it, you are then married because the groom can then take the bride. So it's almost like and what tends to happen is that people like split it up into two. So they'll do the initial ceremony where they're first doing the negotiations, and once they've agreed on a price and they've kind of paid like a deposit, it's a small lunch. And then when they come back to pay off the rest of the amount, that's when they start doing like the traditional wedding, so that the groom can fetch the bride. And basically that's what's happening this weekend where my friend is getting lobolad. And because she's still young, they're kind of gonna do a very small intimate lunch and then they'll do like the traditional wedding a bit later. So I'm excited about that. And so that's Saturday. And then Sunday, I might
Oh,
be
wait.
attending.
I got so many questions on this. So many questions.
Okay.
So it's the groom's family paying the new soon-to-be wife's family.
So
And
yes, but yes, so it's kind of like a twofold thing because Ilobola essentially at the beginning was to thank the family on raising such a good woman, right?
Mhm.
It's almost like he who finds a wife finds a good thing, right? And then that money is actually supposed to go towards the wedding, depending on which culture you in, right? Um, that will go towards the wedding. But nowadays, it's kind of a bit of a scam because what happens is that the bride's family will charge like R1 million and then they'll all like eat it, like they'll split it up and just live their best life and nothing goes towards the wedding and the gifts that you have to
What?
get. So yeah, it's quite it's a long process. So what will happen is they will negotiate. There's certain things that they look at. So they look at the fact if you have a kid or not. They look at the fact if we're going old
Oh,
school, if you're a
pre-marriage.
virgin or not. They look at the fact if you guys stay together. They look at the fact if you can cook or clean. Um and yeah, like
And this makes it more the lobola higher.
higher or lower. So let's say, for instance, I have a kid out of wedlock and you want to now marry me. They'll use that to say, okay, cool, you guys, because people will state their amount. So for example, if they say we want 50,000, then the groom's family will be like, but she has a kid, so minus 5,000, and then they'll
Oh,
be
okay.
like, but she can cook and she does everything. So they need to explain, like it's a proper negotiation of, like, oh, she can do XYZ, or she can't do XYZ. And the thing is, it's kind of almost about reputation. um if they know that you've been around, then they decrease the money. If you are,
Oh,
the Virgin Mary, then it's an increase in the money. And then also certain people get thanked. So in the Lobola negotiation, they'll say, okay, cool, maybe the final amount is 30,000, for example. And then they'll be like, but your mom, um, the bride's mom must get a gift. The bride's dad must get a gift.
out of
And
the
maybe
lobola or on
no,
top.
that's separate. Now that's separate. That is a separate thing.
Is there like
So
a mediator? So like a priest or someone will mediate this, or is it just
no, so
family?
it's the uncles. So traditionally, the uncles, your uncles and my uncles will get together. So they will then discuss and they will do the back and forth. Traditionally, there is no woman part of the Lobola negotiation. But now, as times have changed, and a lot more women are coming into the forefront. So when my sister was getting Lobolad, my gran was in the room and my aunt was in the room, and the groom's mom was also in the room, and then with the other uncles, of course, and then they have a conversation, about what's going to happen, how is it going to go, who gets what is the gift for the aunt, what's the gift for, and the gifts of people that have raised you. So it's essentially saying thank you for raising such a great human being.
And it only works one way, from the groom to the wife's
No,
family.
so what will happen is that we will also thank as the bride's family, we will also get gifts for the groom's family, but it's specific gifts. So we will say the uncle's gonna get this, the mom's going to get a blanket, and da 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 da. So there is an exchange of gifts, not of the lobola amounts, but of gifts. There is an
Okay.
exchange.
That's
Hmm.
beautiful. That's absolutely
Yes.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I
So
love
it can
learning a
be
bit
like
more
a
about
process and a half. Sometimes it's smooth sailing. And the trick is I've noticed is that if you and I were getting married, I need to go talk to my uncles and be like, yo, this man can only afford 25,000.
oh,
Anything
like
else? Yes, because what they tend to do is that they'll be like, but he just bought a new house and he drives this car and he has a job. Therefore, he's earning 50 million. We're going to charge him R1 million. And they don't realize that nah, you're just a regular oak, dog. So yeah,
hectic. Is there like an average or just fluctuates non-stop?
it fluctuates. It depends how much you guys are comfortable with. There have been people that have paid R1 million for Lobola. There's been people that have paid 10,000 rand for Lobola. So it depends on your family and the structure in which you guys negotiate the entire thing. And it also goes back to your bank account. You know, what have you saved up for in this Lobola negotiation? Type of vibe.
Mm. Listen,
Yeah.
there's lots of questions coming through. Where's Gareth? And that could be a trending hashtag for the day.
Where's
We
Gareth? What do
hypothesize
you?
that the storm last night has made him oversleep or blown his electricity. But as soon as he's up and about, he'll join us. Yeah, we're just hypothesizing at this point in time, but you're welcome to go start the hashtag on Twitter.
With Gareth. We'll see what time he joins the show, if he joins the show. So that's going to
He'll definitely join the show. I feel like Gareth, he has an internal clock that even if he misses his normal alarm clock, by like 6:37, he's still waking up. Like he'll
Yep,
be here.
he is.
And I
Um
really want him to do that. It's the weekend, baby. Like
mm,
that would get my day going. If he does like the original, like the proper lean back, come in for it, that'll make my day.
I lean back. When you said lean back, I thought of a song. Lean back. Now lean back. Now lean back. Yeah. But that's what's happening tomorrow. And then Sunday, I might be attending a funeral of it's my sister's father-in-law who passed on. So I might
Oh,
be
my
attending that.
condolences.
Yes. So it's quite a busy weekend. In terms of like Saturday, I'm starting on a high. Woo! And then like Sunday, it's kind of a bit of a low.
But funerals are different in every culture. And I've heard of, so we don't do, in the Jewish religion, we don't do the wake, which is more
Mhm.
like am I correct in saying it's like a celebration of the person's life?
I wouldn't say that we have like a celebration. We just have after tears, which I also find a bit disrespectful
What
because it's
is that when there's food and drinks and stuff?
no. Well, technically, so what happens with us is that the ceremony will take place. We'll go to the graveyard and we'll lay you to rest, and then afterwards, everybody who attended will get food, and they'll kind of then just chill afterwards. And what happens is that people tend to then like in that space bring alcohol, and then it turns into a party afterwards because they celebrating after tears, they celebrating that person's life. And I'm just like, y'all, there's people that are mourning.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, different cultures have different ways of doing things. I
Yes.
very, when you guys sent me the guest for today, I got so excited. We got Nik Rabinowitz coming on later on. That man,
Yay.
I know we know him. So I'm like at the point in my life where like I don't care about celebrities and I don't care how wealthy people are. I just care if they do charity. What I doubt Nik Rabinowitz does so much charity. Like he's a proper good oak. Like even with being a celebrity and being famous and being hilarious. He's like one of our best comedians. He does a lot of good for the world and for South Africa. He does a lot of charity.
I love that. So yeah, I see rebellious Ruth up in here is saying that who's celebrating Halloween this weekend or
Oh,
going to a
shoot.
party, uh, going to a
It is
party, been
Halloween this
at
weekend.
costume shops all weekend trying to fulfill my child's inner serial killer. Oh my word. Is that a thing? Do we celebrate Halloween? Is that a thing?
I feel like it is still a thing. I saw, first of all, it's like a big thing in schools. I saw like the cutest photos of like dads dressing up with their kids and that. So I think that tradition's cool. Um, I think I would say if I was in Joburg this weekend, I'd try celebrate Halloween. I think it's like one of those fun holidays. I have no idea the backstory behind Halloween. There's like certain things I will do on Halloween, like go to a party and that. But then there's like crazy things I've seen people do, like they will go to a graveyard and like there's a tour of a graveyard at like midnight. You will not catch me doing that in my lifetime. Graveyards scare the living hell out of me.
Yeah,
But
even me.
yeah,
I don't like going to like the grave and even during the day. I don't know that in SA
yeah.
it's a thing. I thought it was still very much an American holiday. Or is it even a holiday? Oh, a celebration. I don't know what the hell it is. Um, and I don't know when we adopted it, but to all those that are celebrating Halloween, let us know how you're gonna be dressing up, what character you're going to be in, and if you're
Take
going
a
to a
photo.
dope ass party, hit
Take a
me up.
photo. Tweet us at cliffcentral.com.
Yes, maybe even send through an invite if there's single bachelors. Um,
That's just for Simphiwe. Just for the record, that is just for Simphiwe.
yes. Let's get into some headlines. Let's do one or two. Um,
What's happening in
so
the news?
what is happening in Joburg Pride will go on as city calls on residents not to panic over terrorist warning. I don't know if you saw this, Flex.
This has to do with the terrorist threat on a large gathering in Sandton on Saturday.
Yeah.
I felt like
Yeah.
I felt like if you're going to dish out news like that, get the full story. Like, don't start scaring everyone. Everyone's got to try to predict what's happening. Like, if you were
Mm-hmm.
able to get half the story, just put in the extra effort and get the full. You're the U.S. embassy. The U.S. You guys know You guys know what's happening next Tuesday. Like, get the full story. Dish us with the full
Mm-hmm.
story instead of sending the whole of Johannesburg into panic.
I know, right? So the article says that the Johannesburg Pride March will go ahead as planned this weekend. This event was in limbo after a security alert from the US Embassy about a possible terrorist attack in Sandton. The city of Johannesburg has urged residents not to panic, but to be vigilant. Okay, so that's what you guys have to do.
I'm very happy it's still going ahead because you never know what the threat was or who it was against, and things must continue. And I do think we need to just upgrade security at that venue this weekend. Like, let the US Embassy, since you reported on it, give us a couple US Marines to come and watch over the event, or like get SAPs involved,
Mhm.
like get a helicopter in the air, like just get extra security so no one gets hurt. We shouldn't be stopping our lives, and definitely shouldn't be victims.
Have you ever attended Joburg Pride?
I did it for Cliff Central once. It was the
Ooh, and
biggest
how
jaw
was it?
ever. Honestly, go. I'm not in Joburg this weekend, but go. Everyone go to Pride this weekend. It is going to be so sick.
Is it a
Like, it's a
vibe? I've
proper
never
time.
attended. I always see kind of like the posts on social media, and I'm just like, oh, child, you look like you're living your best life.
Everyone, everyone dresses up. Everyone's friendly. Everyone's there for a good time and a vibe.
Love
You
it.
like meeting new people, taking photos. I was interviewing people there. It's a proper jaw. Like, I went to Pride once in, where was I? In Italy. Let me tell
Oh,
you, it was the equivalent of like what are those big festivals we have? Like a Coachella. It was
okay.
the biggest jewel I've had. I think I partied till like 3 in the morning. It was like an outside venue. There was DJ after DJ, a proper vibe. I dig it.
Hectic. Okay, you've definitely convinced me that next year I need to go and attend Joburg Pride. Like, sounds like a vibe, and I'm all about like great vibes. In other news, we also have Prince Harry memoir to be called Spare. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like spare part, spare. Mm.
Oh, why is he calling his memoir Spare?
I have no idea. The book by Prince Harry will be titled Spare and will include his full account behind his decision to give up royal duties and move to the USA. Hmm.
That's hectic.
He is
Never read
dishing
that
out the
story before.
tea, and I'm here for it. I think I might just soak that up. Like, tell me what happens in that royal house.
And like,
Tell me, you know, what the late Queen Elizabeth II did to you and how she traumatized you and how the death of your mom, you know, has left you feeling like you can't trust these people. And now you have to go to America. Tell me, I'm gonna
the
soak
struggle
it
is
up.
real, eh? Yeah,
No,
I'm
I
meeting with
really
my
want to hear.
electrician later to fix a light, but you get that first class ticket to USA, eh?
I know, right? And you're gonna write a whole book. Like, wow, this is amazing. Like between him and his wife, they really are milking this royal like affair and what's going on and just like and I'm here for it. I want to hear. I want to hear how they've been so hurt and traumatized and you know, they just one of us, Flex. They have the same struggles that you and I have. I really do want to hear all about it.
And then meeting with the electrician later to fix the lights.
Yes.
Are you seeing
And
are you seeing some of these comments on why it's potentially called Spare?
Tabo says,
Some
yeah. That sounds appropriate. He has a spare. He is
maybe it's like he's this maybe it's like he's the spare heir. So like if things go really bad and there's no one left, we got a spare in the USA, not in like the tool shed. We got a spare in the USA. We can just bring him back.
Yes. Conquer Chris over here says he's calling it spare because he's Meghan Markle's spare wheel.
I do
Oh
miss Meghan
wow.
Markle in Suits, hey? She was one
Oh.
of my favorites.
Do you still like her? You know, that's
Would
Gareth's
you
favorite
rather
person.
wait, did you watch Suits?
Yes, I did.
Would you rather Meghan Markle stay on Suits or be the wife of a royal?
Well, I didn't really and as much as I enjoyed the show, I wasn't following, her outside of her personal life.
No,
So
same.
yeah, so I think her, you know, marrying into royalty has been something that's really made us take, notice of her besides her being an actress. And she's really is living the Cinderella story of meeting her Prince Charming and I would almost say living her best life, I think. But I love how they met. They met through friends, you know, and I think that's the moral of the story that guys, if you know a prince or you know anybody that's up there, please introduce them to me, you know, and I'll do the rest. Um
We're
and
talking like proper princes, eh? Not
you
like someone that just calls himself prince.
yes, like, you know, if you know somebody of royalty, you know, that comes from a family that just there's a whole lot of generational wealth, definitely introduce us. Don't be scared to introduce your friends to other people because look, that's how she met Prince Harry and boom shaka boom, they are married, living their best lives.
Yeah, they went straight into scandal because like the news broke and then it's like Meghan Markle's leaving Suits. Then her dad got involved and dad's like hasn't entered the picture for years and now he wants a comment. Then he's doing documentaries, trying to rein in the cash over here. That was like proper. Who's the other brother married to? What's his vibe?
I was Kate Middleton. Middleton.
Yes,
There
Kate
we go.
Middleton.
Yes, she's great. She's very like hush hush. She met with him, got with him, and we've not really
Got with
heard much. No, like I mean, come on, they had to date before they got married, so they got together and they got married, and she doesn't really appear in the headlines. You know, she's just blended into the family very very well. So
Do you know like
hey,
it's like a big thing for like meeting the parents? imagine your parents are like king and queen of the land, and now you've got to like, it's not like hi, it's like, how do you shake their hand? How do you eat with your knife and fork? Like, there's things you do in front of the queen. Like, if the queen stops eating, everyone stops eating. You're not allowed to carry on eating. Don't know
I
why,
know,
but you're not allowed to
right?
carry on eating.
I wondered, like, because let's be honest, Caucasians, you guys move quick and in a hurry. After 2 days of dating, you guys are already meeting the parents. Whereas, people that look like me, it's gonna take 3 years. I wonder when they decided this is the right time, for me to introduce you to the rest of my family. And
I
yeah,
read as soon
show
as
you our traditions.
headlines, as soon as it's in the headlines, in like the what would you call it, celebrity life or royal life, as soon as it hits the
Mhm.
headlines, I think you need to meet the parents, because the parents are going to be like, why am I hearing about this from the tabloids first? I'd be
That is
super pissed if I heard it from the tabloids before my own children.
Oh my word, but, like, isn't that pressure? Like, if I'm just trying to get to know you and see if this is going to work, and you trying to see if I'm actually about you, introducing me to the queen, is that not putting pressure on this relationship?
But I
Hey, I
feel
don't
like
know.
if you are royalty, like, you should be dating for like serious relationships only. There's no like fooling around. So like, if you meet someone, you'll like keep it hush hush for the first like 2 weeks, but after 2 weeks, you're like serious, and you want to put in effort here and focus on this person, and you'll introduce her to the queen.
That is true. I did see a question from Robert over here. Um, he said, "I have drunk face this morning. Any tips on how to look normal?" Were you
Drunk
indulging
face.
in Puza?
Oh, he's got a hangover this morning.
Yeah, he was
Straight away.
indulging in Puza Thursday.
You drop that rehydrate. You put that straight in the water. You stir it 3 times round, and you guzzle it full sachet. After that, you kind of just hope for the best.
There we go. There
That's like
just
maybe 2 panados. That's my hangover remedy.
okay.
Because
That's
Friday you can't take a sick day at work, because then you need a sick note. So yeah, Robert's in a pretty tough place. He's between a rock and a hard place. He's either going to have to continue take a sick day, go to a doctor, and then continue the Puza Thursday straight
mhm.
into a pool Friday
Mm.
with some bezzes, and then see Sunday around the corner, or you're just going to have to walk into work. Everyone's going to see you smell of Brunnervein and Coke. Hope that you don't have glitter on your face from the strip club the night before, and then just
Flex,
hope for the best.
is this what you've done? Have you ever arrived to the office a bit hanging?
Let me tell you, I've come straight from the club to the studio many a times. Let me tell you, I used to party with like, once I was doing shots with Jason Derulo at a club, and I came straight to studio, straight from the club. I still smelt of alcohol. I reeked, and I had to sleep in the booth.
Yes.
Um, I slept in there for like 3 hours, and then I still did relax. It's Flax on a Friday. Now this was my rebellious youth.
Wow, you've lived a life. So people have been asking, where is Gareth? And we've kind of said, you know what, let's make it a hashtag, and they have.
Oh
Usanele has
yeah.
tweeted, hashtag where's Gareth? Hashtag find Gareth.
Oh my God. Imagine like newspapers start calling us. They're like, oh, we just saw this hashtag trending. Can you please comment? This could go buck
So
wild,
what are
eh?
these newspaper publications, they kind of like take things and just go the opposite direction. So it'd be like, so Flack, how do you feel that Gareth is missing? And it's like, we didn't say he's missing, but okay.
I'll be like, no, Gareth overslept this morning. And they'll be like, oh my God, Gareth Cliff's bed caught on fire. He then fell in the pool, drowned. I was like, no, you misquoted. I said he overslept.
Oh my word. Elon is God. What did he say? Oh, wait. No.
Oh my
It's
God. Can we talk about Elon Musk buying Twitter? How
okay.
sick is that? Like,
Let's
how he
talk
did it.
about it.
He,
Okay.
if we just go to the pivot of yesterday, when he posted a video online of him walking into the Twitter building with a sink. He got his assistant to go find a sink, and he carried it into the Twitter building, and he goes, let this sink in. I've bought Twitter. My G, my gent. Like, all
Who does
praise
that?
out to leader Elon Musk.
I mean, if you are you spent a couple of billies on it. You should be able to do whatever you want to do. But I'm interested to see what he's gonna get up to now.
I think
With
he's like
Twitter.
like Oaks say, don't reinvent the wheel. My man is
Mhm.
reinventing the world. He is reinventing the world. I think it's the coolest thing ever. I'm watching this documentary on YouTube. You got to watch it. It's BBC just released a documentary on Elon Musk, but they go into detail. I'm on episode 3 at the moment. They release it every
Mhm.
week. For some reason I can only watch it on YouTube, but it's the full like 45-minute
Mhm.
documentary. They interview his dad, Errol, his mom. Like it's proper cool. Go onto YouTube and watch it this weekend. You can also watch us on YouTube. Cliff Central's on YouTube. You can watch us
Yeah.
live. You can see our faces, etc.
Yes. At least there's like one pretty face on screen.
Or there's 2 of us, and I don't know who you're talking about. You either flirting or flirting.
Oh my gosh. I think Vincent over here is saying unprofessional drinkers go to work and take the punishment from the hangover.
I like professional drinkers. That's funny.
Yeah, I've never done that. So I have a rule that during the week I don't drink. So
Never.
no. Like,
Like
at
not
most,
even
I
like
have,
a
like,
glass of
1
wine.
glass, or at most 1 or 2, but it's I'm not trying to hang. I think the worst thing is coming to the office and you hanging. Like, I get annoyed, and, I don't think it's going to be a pretty sight when I'm up in the office and someone asks me to do something and I just snap because, wow. Um,
Or
yeah, I'm
what's
very, like, mm,
your
I don't wanna be
hangover?
around people.
Like you
Excuse me?
wake up, like you wake up, you feel like a fish out of water and you need food. And you're thinking like the greasier, the better. You think these oils are going to just drain up the alcohol. What is your go-to?
I
And
wouldn't say
please
it's greasy.
don't say KFC. Like everyone goes to go
No,
KFC.
no, not KFC because that's like I'm not feeling great. But what you have to do, let me tell you something, is you have to get food the night before, right?
Yes.
Uh so
Yes.
so that it's cold the next day, right? I would recommend McDonald's or you get yourself some chicken licken. Those wings with the hot sauce,
Oh, no, you can't do
bad.
chicken the next day.
You get
That's like no.
Flex,
Ugh.
flex, says the man who has 8 mimosas. Shh, keep quiet. Right?
That's how you deal
And
with a hangover.
and what you do is you buy it as you're gallivanting and painting the town red, and you go to bed. And the next morning, that's when you eat it. You have your McDonald's, eat the fries when they're still hot, but the burger itself, you have it the next day. Heat it up a bit or have it cold. It's up to you. But it slaps. It goes in. You just like, what? And then the hot sauce, the chicken licken with the hot sauce. I promise you, this like I can't
No,
stand
not the next day. That
like
chicken goes
spicy
hard.
thing. No, you heat it, dude. You heat it up. I promise you.
Turns to there's certain things that like there's certain burgers that literally go hard and like stale in like an hour, like a Steers burger. You have to eat that on the spot. Otherwise, it's like it turns into rubber. But I'm loving some of these suggestions here. And
Mhm.
Ryan James says over here, at Callaway's. Now, I've seen the menu at a Callaway's and it looks so extreme. It looks like they've thrown 40 different variations of food into like a sandwich.
Oh
Like
wow.
I'm
Okay.
dying to eat it.
Okay.
I've
Yeah.
heard
Okay. He
like
also says he can't
station.
do chicken. I promise you, it has to have the hot sauce. The hot. I got hot sauce in my backpack. Hot sauce.
You can't do hot sauce the next day after a hangover. Like, you know, your stomach's going to be churning. Like, hot sauce is just literally going to make a situation worse.
No, it's worked. But there's also a plant based is the best. Yeah.
No, I'm not
Mm.
doing plant-based.
No,
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
no, no.
going full
Cold
bender. I'm
vegan
going to
pizza.
meat sweats. Oh my
Ooh.
God, Mimos though. Mimos is a vibe.
But
That
cold
is delicious.
vegan vegetarian, not vegan, vegetarian pizza.
I have to agree with Human Shield over here. Like a cold vegetarian pizza has all the toppings. None of them go hard. The onion's still soft. It's like it is a vibe. I would smash a cold vegetarian pizza. That's one of the
Ah,
pizzas I always do. And now
yeah.
everyone's going to check how I say pizza.
Yeah, of course. Usanele over here is saying another good thing is braai meat. Yes, traditional style. Go get your ass to mama. Yes, yes. Braai
What's
meat.
mine?
Oh, it's actually I would say it's one of the first ranks, taxi ranks in Joburg. Um, and it's called
Is it
Kwai
gonna
Mai
happen
Mai.
tomorrow?
It's right by Maboneng. If you've been by Maboneng,
Yeah.
Maboneng Crescent, you would have seen. It's kind of like now a tourist attraction place, but back in the day, it was one of the first taxi ranks in Johannesburg, and that's what
That's
it's
not
known for.
where they have the
But
thrift shop as well.
no, I haven't seen that. It's just
Okay,
like you can
different
see
place.
there's a bunch of taxis. It's a bunch of taxis, and it's like you walk in and they bring meat, and it's very like operational, but also tourists and people enjoy some bride meat. In fact, iskopo, which I've never had, and
Isn't
yeah,
that
you just
sheep?
have. Excuse me.
Isn't it scorp or sheep?
It's a head. It's the head of
Sheep head.
the animal. No, of an
Oh,
animal. Iskopo is the head of
I've
a.
had it. I've had it.
Have you?
But mine was sheep that I had, so I thought it was
Okay.
only the head of a sheep.
No, no, no. Oh, okay. And how was it?
No, it's tasty. It's nice meat. Like I didn't have a lot of it. It was we were doing something for like another radio station on what's that? Vilakazi Street.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like in that
In
famous
Soweto.
restaurant over there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were serving it. I think it was called yeah, I can't it was definitely that name, but it was tasty. It was weird to be eating head of like an animal. I've never eaten that before, but it was good to try it.
That's an experience I'll never have. Fun fact. Because
Wow,
it
let's
said
go jam. Let's go try it.
no, women don't eat iskopo.
Oh,
W
is it like a
it's
tradition thing?
yes.
Why can't women eat it?
It because they say that it's for the for men, and it helps, in the bedroom. So that's why the
Like an
scalpel is for
aphrodisiac.
men.
You telling me sheep head gets you horny?
Well, I wouldn't say horny, but they say the tongue, y'all, there's something in that tongue. Um, but yeah.
The whole of Joburg just sold out a sheep tongue this weekend, and everyone's having kids.
But yeah,
Breaking
that's a
news:
good
new
one.
aphrodisiac has launched in South Africa. Sheep tongue. Get your horny on.
Oh my god,
Jesus,
rebellion is
what have I just joined? What did I miss?
Oh,
Holy shit!
you are trending on Twitter. Where's Gareth?
yeah, there's articles that are
Sorry,
gonna be written about you, Gareth.
I,
Where are you? Did something happen? Is
I
it the
just
tequila you're
no.
talking about yesterday?
I wish. I mean, like then I'd at least have a story, but no, it's just like completely stupid oversleeping. It's so embarrassing.
Oh, it
How stupid.
happens.
No, dude, it hasn't happened for so long, and I'm so embarrassed. It's like ridiculous. Anyway, thank you, Simphiwe, and thank you, Flax, for holding on to things for the last hour. Let us take a quick break as I come straight in, and we will be
Yes.
back with the next hour of the show. Stick around. Lots of good shit happening. Thank you for looking after things for the last hour, guys. Really appreciate it. And we will be back now.
It's the decade that just won't go away, mainly because we won't let it. It's That 80s Show, the show that taste forgot. Every Friday, Paolo and Dory remember the 80s. Movies, music, fashion, wham, beachies, and the Hoff. If it was acceptable in the 80s, it will get you cancelled today. That 80s Show, new episode every Friday, live or as a podcast on cliffcentral.com.
This week on the Auto Trader podcast.
Ever seen this video on TikTok? I think we'll ask the editors to kind of put it up there. But whenever the petrol price goes up, this video becomes popular again, which has this person going to their car and pouring water in this like makeshift engine in the boot. And they're like, I don't know why everyone's complaining about petrol when you can just use water or this water system.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
Well, I mean, pretty much the only thing anyone is talking about right now is this terror alert that was put out by the U.S. Embassy this week. And it turns out that the guy who may or may not have been responsible for this, I hate to even bring it up, is Nik Rabinowitz. Oh, my God, dude. Haven't you got enough, I don't know, excitement and attention and all the rest around you? Jesus. Now you have to be causing terror alerts in Santon. Okay? Is everything okay, Nik?
Well, good morning, guys.
Morning.
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 How are you? You're not going to cancel anything, are you?
No.
Okay, good.
No, we're not going to do that. I was a little bit shaken when I was actually I was busy preparing something, and I saw repetitive calls from my agent, and then she sent me a screen grab from a News 24 journalist who was urgently wanting to speak to me about how did he frame it? I'd seen the terror alert from the embassy earlier in the day. And then he said, our sources tell us that Nik Rabinowitz's show is targeted, even though it's not on the weekend. But for the next 2 weeks, they're going to target him as well. And I was like, well, that sounds... you get a shock. But I then found out that actually the intelligence was about the Pride Parade, and it wasn't actually anything to do with me.
But I mean,
the Jewish intelligentsia.
How awful for you that this should even be like a part of what your show was involved in, and to be roped into this is not great, because obviously you're concerned. You have, you've got a show on, but there are also other people involved, and to even be in a situation where you have to, kind of worry about your own safety or anyone else's safety or the audience's safety or any of that shit. It clearly is. There's a lot of panic stuff going on. People love to share. It's amazing how people will share. If you turned 100, then they're like, oh well, Nik turned 100, but they're not going to send that on WhatsApp groups everywhere all over the world. As soon as the kind of people I heard from yesterday are the sort of people I haven't heard from in like 10 years, but they couldn't wait to share. Like, there's a terror attack possibility, and you got to stay out of Santon and all of this stuff. So people clearly are nervous about this.
Yeah, I heard from people. I've also not heard from 10 years. I heard from an American friend whose family experienced some things many years ago, and she was like, well, we know a number of mercenaries who work for other governments in Cape Town. If you need a safe house, we have that as well. I know an ex-Mossad spy who says, go to the Israeli embassy, immediately get your passport and fly to Israel. You'll be safe there. And then she left a message for a mutual friend to say, did you see what's just happened to Nik? And he thought I was dead, so he phoned me to see if I was alive. That's kind of run-of-the-mill stuff.
Yeah, it's a horrible way for us to start this conversation. Let's start at the beginning and pretend we didn't do that. How are you? What's been happening to you? We've spoken to a few comedians during lockdown, and a lot of them have had a really, really tough 2 years. You seem to have been very busy. I saw the most hilarious promo for a Cape Town expo that you did, or that you were advertising for people. Which everything you do is hilarious. This is particularly funny.
Yes, what was that? The move to the Cape Expo, which was really just an excuse for me to talk about my show.
You talk about spelling it out, though. It's like the move to the Cape Expo, in case you weren't sure what this was.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, they had a lot of interest, and Cape Townians are now very upset.
Oh, really?
I love this topic.
Good morning. This is a hello to Simphiwe, and is it
And Flax,
Michael?
yeah.
No,
Michael Flax. I'm shalom.
Michael
Shalom.
Flax. Shalom. In fact, it's been a busy week. I don't know if you saw my shiur. I gave my first shiur discussing this week's Torah portion. Michael, did you see that? This week,
No.
the story of Noah. Yeah, the story of the flood and how God put up a rainbow after the flood to say never again, but also to show his support for the LGBTQIA plus movement.
Oh wow.
Does it feel good to be back doing stuff on stage though? Because it's very different to doing any other
but
way.
Actually, but this was actually on Zoom, and it was the first show I've done on Zoom forever, which also felt good. I realized I missed that. I at first it was a struggle, and I made some really bad mistakes that weren't funny at all. Before I'd kind of realized how the medium worked. And now I kind of miss that whole, like, not having to leave the house to do a show. People are right here, they're in their living rooms, it's intimate kind of vibe. I got into it, actually.
Well, that's good to hear. Is there more material since people have behaved stupidly during COVID, or is there less? I mean, it seems to me that there's so much more to joke about with people having behaved either like paranoid idiots or like conspiracy theorists. We've done ourselves no favor in the last 3 years.
Well, that's kind of gave me a new show, which took me a little while to. I didn't have a creative inclination for a long time, especially with all the anxiety at the beginning in terms of income and future.
Absolutely.
Everything being eviscerated, but now apparently I have an hour and a half, and the conspiracy theory stuff is interesting as well, because I was like, how do I deal with that in a way that's funny? And luckily enough time has passed now that there's the charge is gone, and we can kind of all have a laugh about it. Maybe not in the US, but certainly here.
Well, I mean, in the US, everything is political at the moment because they're all going into elections. And it's amazing how, even families are divided by this stuff. There's some things you can't discuss, even with people who've been, they've been friends and family for 30 years, but suddenly there's politics in between them, and it's insane. Are you at all interested in local politics, or is that something that's moved on?
I kind of, once I stopped doing, it was actually 702. Once I stopped doing my week that wasn't
with reading
thing, all those years ago, that forced me every day. I was kind of immersed in all of that, and I don't know. It just hasn't had. I haven't been forced to do it, and it just didn't have the appeal for me. And I also felt my audiences were kind of saturated with all of that.
We have a word for that. We have a word.
Gatvol. So for the last couple of years, actually, I think my shows have become a lot more personal. Definitely. And that's kind of where the interest has been for me, and also with COVID, is like finding the personal inside of the political, the bigger context.
Well, I mean, Flax and Simphiwe will have something to say about this, but we've had people like Rob van Vuuren on recently, and Robbie Collins was on not so long ago. We've got all these guys whose job it is, like yours, to make people laugh. And I don't think it's necessarily harder, but if you don't move on and you don't get to things that people really care about, then they stop listening, they stop paying attention. There's enough going on out there for them to find something else to listen to and to do. I mean, it's the same as, television and radio. Everyone's competing so much harder for the ear.
Yeah, totally. But what is cool is that people have come back with a kind of hunger for connection and just being, and there's a sort of appreciation for being in a space with other people, and it's exciting to experience that again.
Right.
That's
From
you
a
like
live
hit the
point of
nail, you hit the nail on the head when you like your jokes are like more personal. They are like, I'm thinking of a show I saw of yours, and it was like so relatable, the jokes, that it took it to like the next level of funny. The fact that I was able to relate with the jokes and be like, oh my God, that's so true. Never thought about that. My friends and that do that, which was amazing. And I think I'd love to see more people go into that sphere of comedy where it's not just a joke, but it's relatable, and you're now seeing this whole world around you open up because everyone does what you just explained.
Yeah. What do you do on that note? Like, what do you do when when you feel like you're not doing enough normal stuff to gain material? Because a lot of people, I know this happened for famous people like Trevor Noah, is that you're doing a show every day and you don't mix with ordinary people, and you kind of stop having ordinary stuff to talk about, like the petrol price, or like what people do on a weekend, or the things that the movies that people are watching, or the things that make people interested or disinterested. Like, you have to, for you, there's almost, for any comedian, there's a bit of pressure to do stuff that you can then kind of turn into comedy. Or does it just come to you? Does it sound like we're deconstructing it too much?
No, I mean, I think that's the price of extreme fame. That Trevor, I heard somebody say at a corporate event last week, "Oh, well, Trevor's coming home, and this is great for him. He'll be back with his people, and he can go to the spa." And just, I'm like, no, he can't go to the spa. He's like,
not a chance, right?
He's super famous now.
And I'm sort of at the sort of Goldilocks level of unimportance / sometimes it's like, who are you? Like last night, so I had a bag and someone was like, "Is Chester in the bag? Like, what's in the bag?"
Oh, Jesus, I thought you were. Oh, wow.
And it'll be like, "Hi, Rob," or "Oh my God, that prank! The way you pranked Leon Schuster, that was Rob van Vuuren." Or so there's this. Or is it just I've met you at an engagement party? You look very familiar. So, which is a beautiful thing, because you still, I can get stuff, and I can get stuff as well.
Do you ever get annoyed by people? I mean, in the airport, when they walk up to you and go, "Oh, I saw you in this ad," or "I've seen your comedy special," or any of that stuff, and you're about to catch a plane?
Hardly, no, like very rarely. Like, if I must be very grumpy, and then there must also be like somebody just getting in my face with a phone or something. But it's super rare. It's normally, and it's often funny. It's often like someone coming up to me in an airport recently and going, before I'd said a word, they said, "You don't use this in your show, hey?" And I was like,
What?
Literally nothing has happened.
and they really think that if you're farming for material, you're going to be taking notes while they're busy talking to you, because that's so hilarious. Someone in their family,
but I mean, here we are talking about it. So
someone in their family once said to them, "Oh, you are hilarious. You should do stand-up comedy." And then when they see Nik Rabinowitz, they're like, "Oh, he better not steal my material."
Yeah, I actually had a very close friend who at varsity who he was actually funny, but he decided, no, I want to do this thing. And I was like, I was sort of 5-6 years into it. I was like, cool, I'll organize you a spot. And he practiced it he with a wooden spoon all week, and came up on stage, but felt he needed the wooden spoon with him. And he did it once, and actually it went kind of well. It was like at a grungy club in Obs in Cape Town. And then I was like, "Oh, well, you want to do it again?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, we're doing this theater gig. It's a lineup of comedians." He's like, yeah. And he bombed so hard. And I haven't seen him for like 15 years, probably since then, actually. And we had breakfast this weekend. He said, I went backstage and cried. And it took me about 6 months to get over that.
Oh my God.
I think there was a certain Schadenfreude, whatever that word is for me at the time. But anyway, so actually I am luckily still in the position where I can find plenty of things. And a day like yesterday, which I have to say was one of the more bizarre days of my life.
Is this terror thing?
But I literally wrote all day because it was just coming in, the calls and the WhatsApps and the tweets and the there was one tweet that said, so they're not targeting gay Jewish comedians. This is concerning. And then another, because the News 24 article also said
a very small like subgroup of all people in South Africa, right? I mean, if that were a thing.
Yeah. Somebody else said you're like a gay icon now, Nick. Because if you read the News 24 tweet, it's like a gay pride parade and 2-week show organized by comedian Nik Rabinowitz, and they were like, "Wow, that's impressive, Nick! Like all in 1 week, you're producing a lot of stuff here."
And you've suddenly come out, which we didn't know about
I've come
you before.
out. My wife didn't know.
Well done. I mean, congratulations, your poor wife. She must be horrified. But I mean, what a small subgroup of like gay Jewish comedians. It's like there are about 5 in the whole world. And, you know, what a group to be a part of. That's like the ultimate victim hierarchy.
So I think yesterday probably generated, and actually I had to be on stage last night as well at a kind of a corporate, and I thought I've got to say something about it. And so I just did 5 minutes, which turned into 10 minutes because I was thinking I was actually thinking about ISIS. I was like, was it something I said, guys? And then I was kind of thinking back in time, like, I don't have many ISIS jokes. I mean, I once read a story about a German massage therapist who went to fight for ISIS and then came back. They were like, well, you either have to become a suicide bomber or go to the front line. That's not a great choice. And he was like, well, can't I give some hot stone massages or something? And they were like, no, yeah, that's not how this works. And it's basically like you fight or it's like death. Your choice is death. I don't know where the word kunafe came into this bit, but it was like, your choice is death or kunafe. And then Fritz, the German massage therapist, was like, what is kunafe? And they were like, it is Arabic cheesecake. But it was like, I'll go with kunafe. Sorry, we are out of kunafe, so it's or death. It's like Hotel California. You can never check out. You can never check in, but you can never. No, you can never check. Yeah, no, you cannot check out. I was like, was it that, or was it the Hardy-Das? Because I did this whole bit about Hardy-Das and how. Actually, this is a bit about how mountain biking is terrible for the environment because of the lycra that they manufacture in South America in these factories that run off diesel and panda blood and Brazilian rainforest and genetically modified silkworms. That's where the stretchiness of the lycra comes from, Simphiwe. It's the silkworms. And so now the silkworm population is out of control because all of these middle-aged men are buying lycra. And the only known predator of the silkworm is the Hardy-Da. And that's why the Hardy-Das are out of control. Every time you have to be on a StreamYard or a Zoom or whatever, and Joburg goes, and it's because of the silkworms and the thing. And now the silkworms are getting like super intelligent. I mean, the Hardy-Das, because you know where they do that thing where they're in your garden pretending to look for worms, but they're actually just waiting for you to leave the sliding door open, and then they'll hack their way in and then gorge themselves on organic worms because we've all gone plant-based, and then they'll become super intelligent and then hack their way into our laptops. And then it's no longer, we don't have to worry about AI versus humanity because we'll be out of the picture, and then it'll be AI against Hardy-Das, and the Hardy-Das will win because they don't waste their time on porn because they don't have hands. What would be the point? So I told that whole story.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we have just witnessed is Nick and his never-ending material source book. I mean, he's just gone on so many different like tangents after that this is impossible to categorize in it. Listen, a couple of people want to know.
But Nick, coming back to ISIS, so
this is just hold on before. I mean, important as ISIS is.
Oh, we got a break. Sorry.
Now, he wants to know, Nick, what is going on with that cursed Pikachu in the background of your picture? Like, what have you got on that shelf? There's a lot of interesting shit happening there.
Pikachu. What is a Pikachu?
Pikachu is one of
Is
those.
it the white bunny behind? No, yellow bunny behind you.
Yellow bunny right inside of your head. What is that?
Oh, and there's even a black one.
There's a lot of insane shit happening there, right?
This is my favorite bit. This is the Pope over here.
Chris.
That's the Pope, and he used to be able to wave actually, but a child
that is so great.
removed his hand. We'll just leave him here.
Mm.
I don't know what
One of
happened
the
to the
things-
arch. I used to have the arch somewhere.
Oh, I heard you. And listen, tell me if I'm right. I saw a Vita Besaidenote 2 nights ago at dinner. And did you do an intro for her as the Archbishop?
Yeah, I think so.
I
so.
recognized your voice. I was like, that is a Nik Rabinowitz.
No. Well, you mean, was it like a
was like-
voiceover?
Yeah, like a voiceover where you were the Arch. Oh, here's Evita. She's come to talk to us today. It was definitely
No, I think that would have been him. That was probably him.
No, it wasn't him. It was definitely an impersonation.
Really?
I'm pretty
Anyway,
sure it was you,
here's-
man.
here's
There he
the
is.
Arch.
Oh, what a guy. You know, the one thing about this this Zoom call thing that everyone's doing at the moment is like you get to go into people's houses and see all that like weird shit that you have on your shelf behind you. I mean, it was something I actually enjoyed, especially for the first maybe 3-4 months of the pandemic. It was like really exciting to see what people have got going on in their background. Obviously, now it's become a bit boring because most of us have seen it all and it's not that exciting. And most people, they don't put any effort in at all. It's like a blank wall or, you know, there's some like dilapidated.
Yes, Flax.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking at you,
Like-
judging you.
An empty bookshelf behind me.
You got to up your game,
Yeah, I
brother.
mean, so Flax is the guy who works with TikTok and he's got the most boring background of all time ever. Is this the new house you moved into?
Yeah, I still got to take the stuff from my storage and start filling the bookshelf and everything.
Yeah, I mean, really.
It beats my last background, which was like utter chaos and confusion. I had like shelves with like rackets and baseball gloves. I don't even play baseball. You
Hey,
see something on
Nick,
Wonder
on that-
and you have it.
On that note, I heard you in that video that I saw this week. You mentioned paddle. This is like this is the thing that has caught everybody who's like cool and trendy and does everything that's like in on vogue at the moment. This is what everyone's talking about. I spoke to someone else about it last week on the show. But this is such a big deal in Cape Town now. Paddle, and it's happened. You know, there's the paddle court at the Wanderers. There are a couple of others that have popped up around Joburg. So obviously, this is the new cool thing to be doing, right?
Yeah, I have some reservations about it.
You would.
I've played it a few times, and I don't like what it does to my personality.
What do you
It
mean?
engages a deeply competitive side of me, which is it's interesting. It's a bit like being. It's a bit like taking magic mushrooms and being outside of your body and watching yourself. And going, oh, that's an interesting human. But it is the new sport of privilege, of course. It does cost about, I don't know, what is it, 6,000 Rand
What?
for half an hour. No,
Well,
the
you've
racket
got-
is quite expensive.
You've got to buy a brand new racket. You can't use like an old tennis racket or a ping pong racket or any of that shit. No. You have to go and buy.
That's a no-no. That's a no-no.
So you have to go and
Then
buy.
there's
So have you?
Oh, the
seen-
paddle balls. Yes, they're not tennis balls. They're paddle balls.
double
You
the
see them
price.
out
0.15 grams lighter than normal tennis balls. And then you've got sort of waiters, like ball boys / waiters, standing around outside the court while all these middle-aged men in knee braces are pathetically trying to run around the court.
It might be exactly the place that you want to avoid, rather than the kind of place you want to end up at.
Yeah, and it's I don't know about Joburg, but it's got a very there's a very strong Jewish feel to paddle.
You basically got a minion at every paddle game here.
You do.
You do. Let's give credit where it's due, or due in this case. A lot of a lot of the cool things start off with certain communities and then grow into the rest of it.
Right.
You know, obviously, by the time it's reached certain other groups, and we're not going to be racist and stereotypical about this, then most people have given up on some things. But we'll give the Jews some credit here. They
Well,
usually
thanks. You know,
they get into things near the beginning instead of near the end.
we're taking quite a lot of heat right now. A bit
Exactly.
of
A little bit of positivity.
Let's give us a break. Let's give us a break.
For sure. All right. So just tell us about this show that you're doing at the Theatre on the Square, because it's happening next weekend. It's not this terror, alert weekend. Going ahead, and hopefully there will be no reason for anyone to panic. But I mean, it's going to be probably a sold out show before we even finish this show this morning. When you do this kind of, because you used to do this stuff all the time before COVID, now is there any kind of change in the way that you present things, just because the environment has changed, the way people feel has changed, and obviously they went from very, very nervous and very worried about going out there and being around other people. In the last 2 weeks, I've been to 2 events, 2 corporate sort of dinners, and it's been so nice to actually see people in person doing normal stuff, not just on weekends, but doing things during the week.
Yeah, completely. Although with this particular thing, people actually, when I last did the show in Joburg, I think we were still at 50% capacity in the theater when everyone else had gone back to normal. But there was still a sense of we're sitting in a sealed place, and we are taking our lives into our hands. And now people are now, well, we're taking our hands into our lives again, Nik. There better be security. And Flax, you'll be pleased to know I've spoken to the head of intelligence at TSA, and there will be a presence. Nik, don't worry. There will be a presence.
We need you, Nik. You are an amazing king in the community.
But I also had messages from Muslim people yesterday saying we will come for the entire 2 weeks to stand outside the venue. So, and I don't know how CSO are going to feel about that. An interfaith security team could be. I think it's great. I think it's nation building, social cohesion. Sure. Fantastic. But yeah, you're right. People are there's an uplifting sense of we've moved through this, which is it's a bit like this week's Torah portion, Flax. It's a bit like landing, sending out the doves, and they come back, and so they haven't drowned, and we can walk out onto Mount Ararat. We have reached our Mount Ararat, is I think what I'm saying.
The Pasha of the week with Nik Rabinowitz. Yeah. You didn't know you were going to get this, but here it is.
This has to be a thing every Friday.
Shabbat Shalom.
I think also people are feeling a bit claustrophobic, and anything that sounds more exciting than watching a TV show going to dinner is like going to grab everyone's attention now.
That's a great angle. Like even a pride parade during. With the threat of a terror. No, we got to get out, everybody.
Right. Absolutely. I would say to people, and also, why suddenly, after years and years of not having this as the headline stuff, would this suddenly creep back into the news? Why would this be the big thing?
Yeah.
And
also, this is not how terror works anymore. It's not the thing you expect that's going to happen. In fact, you could the analogy I use is, we all thought COVID was going to get us, but actually now we realize that it could be something else, and it could be something that you least expect. Like Flax, in your mid-30s, your late 30s, your early 40s, how old are you?
Just turned 30.
Just turned 30. Okay. Sorry, it's the lighting. And but you hear about those guys in their early 40s. No, he just went for a Saturday morning run. He's got 0% bad cholesterol, no body fat, and then 5 minutes into his run, poof, he got unexpectedly hit by a flying air conditioner. Just didn't see it happen. Just didn't see it coming. And I think it could be like that with this, like the thing we least expected, like terrorist hardy-does is a thing that I've been thinking about for a while now. Imagine terrorist hardy-does with little suicide vests attached to those fluffy chests. Hardy-does in fact, is
Oh, that's genius.
and I think that's why they've targeted me, is because they heard that.
Oh,
gag.
dude.
Oh wow.
All right. I know Simphiwe and Flax. Have lots of things to ask you too. I'm not going to completely monopolize the conversation. Go ahead.
I'm just-
I'll do something.
Oh, thank you, Flax. I'm just curious to know: does your kid find you funny? You know,
Well, I've got 3 of them. The oldest one actually watched the the story about Noah the other night and walked out. He was sitting over there and he walked out halfway through, and said audibly, "Dad, you're not funny."
Jesus, that is
okay.
But he did laugh. He was laughing at some of the things. In fact, it's just I started laughing because he was laughing, and
is that the most damning judgment you've ever received from someone in the audience? Dad, you're not funny. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, it's almost as bad as hearing from Zev Kringel, the head of the South African Jewish Board of Deputies, that he's spoken to U.S. intelligence and Cyril's right-hand man, Sidney Mufamadi, and he can confirm that ISIS have no interest in your show, Nik. And I got to say that was a little bit hurtful because we want to be universally loved and relevant. Anyway, it's interesting because my oldest, he's the middle child shares my sense of humor, and I think actually he might end up being a better stand-up than me. He's already memorizing bits and doing things.
Wow.
And then the youngest is like 6, and it's like whatever. In fact, it's like I'm in that age. All her friends have heard and I understand what I do, and they're like, tell us a joke. And it's like I can only ever think of one when I'm around these kids. It's like, what's brown and sticky? And they go, I don't know. And then I go, stick. And they just look at me. And then they go, tell us another one. And I'm like, what's brown and sounds like a bell? And they go, I don't know. And I go, dang. And they go, and they just run off.
Sorry,
That's
I must be infantile because I still think that's
And that's why they took unclean animals on the Ark, Flax, because you know how these long, boring trips are. You need dad jokes.
Oh my God. Do you know one thing I'll remember for the rest of my life was what I was doing when I heard Nik Rabinowitz was the target for a terror attack. I was baking challahs with a mate last night when the news broke to me, and I was like, no, not Nik. Like, I thought it was everywhere else, but not Nik. I mean, what?
You had a challah bake for men. This is incredible.
We need to explain because Flax, most people will not know who are listening to us now what a challah baking exercise is all about and like what that even means. So just explain what challah is, explain what you were doing baking it. Also explain to people that your mother is a kosher chef that is like world famous. So start with all of that.
Yeah, so Nik, you know my mom, Reva Flax. I'm referred to as Reva Flax's son 9 out of 10 times.
Reva Flax? Who doesn't know Reva Flax in the community? She's like the most important caterer you could know. She's on speed dial. She's on number 9 here. If I've got a thing on I've got a Shabbos dinner, if I've got a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, if I've got an important event in the community, then what I do is I call Reva Flax.
So did you like grow up? You basically grew up in the kitchen. Were you like a literal bun in the oven?
I looked like a round bun. I was huge.
He was a fat child. He was overfed. He was eating challah the whole time.
You're probably also the cool kid at school with your lunchbox, you know, smelling all good and stuff.
No, I didn't get lunchbox. I got tuck money every day. My mom invented the tuck shop account at King David. Accounts weren't a thing. You couldn't post pay.
Simphiwe, you know that there's that saying like the cobbler's kids are never shod, which means basically, you know, if someone does something, their own children never get the benefit of it. But I will say this: I've eaten Reva Flax's amazing food a couple of times at a couple of occasions, and it really is spectacular. I would have been the fattest child in the world if she was my mother, without a doubt.
Yeah, in school I used to eat a lot of pies, but back to the challah bake. Which,
So you were making the Jewish bread. You were plaiting the challah and putting blessings into it at the time.
It's
Which is
this
what
new
you're
thing
supposed to do.
which I want to do on a weekly basis. I'm going away this weekend to the bush. I don't even can you refer to Dino King as the bush? They got the big five, but I doubt I'm going to see even.
I mean, technically, it's still Ekurhuleni, which is like an urban area. But yeah, we'll give you that. That's the bush. Okay, fine.
I feel like there's still load shedding even in like Dino King. So I'm going to Dino King this weekend. And I wanted fresh challas. And you can get very creative if you make your own challah. Usually you just get normal plain seeded challah. But here I'm like putting chocolates inside. I'm putting herbs and like garlic, etc. So you call the boys over and you quickly just... you have a whiskey and you make a challah. So it's a vibe. It's what I'm doing in my 30s
And
now.
But you are breaking gender norms here. This is progressive. This is revolutionary. What you're doing.
He called the boys.
Right. He's even getting
terrorists aren't coming for me now, are they?
He's getting.
Are you transitioning? Do you still identify as Michael?
Because challas are a vibe to make. Such a vibe.
Oh well,
But what do you identify as, Flax? Huh?
who hasn't had a challah bake off in their lives? I mean, there are even Jews. There are Jews right now. There are Jews going. This is the most Jewy conversation we've ever heard in our lives.
I don't know. Candle lighting will be at 7:45 tonight.
That's true.
Jesus.
Actually, it is
Oh my
7:45.
God. Listen, I can't believe. I mean, it feels to me like this whole year has just gone by in the blink of an eye. We're already at the end of October. Like next Tuesday is the second last month of the year. And I know everybody says this and people get annoyed with me on the show when I go, oh my God, it's November. I can't believe. The fact is, like, all the shops are already playing like Christmas music. You see the decorations are going up. There's all of that stuff going on already. And I'm not ready for it. I feel like we should still be in August.
Yeah, this year is fun.
So,
I'm not going to close the windows
They're
yet.
coming for you. They're definitely coming for you.
I heard the Hardy Daz and thought, oh my God, it's the G Hardy Daz that Nik.
Yeah. It's been a lot of confusion, guys. We need to clear it up. It's not actual terrorists this weekend. It's just Hardy Daz.
Okay, so a lot of people also talking about the stuff in the background on your picture here. I mean, at least you've got an interesting background going on there. Did you do a lot of Zoom stuff and video stuff while you were stuck during lockdown? So you had to make it interesting, or was that already there before?
No, it was a mess. It was like Flax's previous bookshelf, and then somebody took pity on me. A friend of mine is an interior decorator, and she's like, it's driving me crazy. I have to come to your house immediately. And I went out for a couple of hours, and then that's what I came back to.
Well, it looks pretty good. So someone has Rebellious Ruth says, for us Yids, we're ahead in that.
This is my cousin, Rebellious Ruth.
Oh, really?
This is Ruth Rom. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. She says we're already in the new year. Wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, Ruth, you've suddenly gone up. She listens to us, and she's got her own podcast, and she's a regular on the show. But now Ruth's just gone up in cool points. She's related to Nik Rabinowitz. That's amazing. Lighthouse Barber says, I had a Jewish boyfriend, loved his mother, Marge. She couldn't bake high tea and cheesecake. Or wait, she could bake.
She could.
High tea and
To
cheesecake.
die for doll, I think is what she's saying.
My God.
Yeah.
What happens when you throw oranges at a synagogue? All the juice come out. Oh God, that is a shit joke. Congo Chris, what a pathetic joke after such a good run. You've just ended it right there. I'm sorry.
Do you know what that reminds me of? Is are you guys familiar with Pokemon Go? Right,
Yes.
Got to catch them all.
That game where you walk around with a phone and you have to collect.
Hold on a second. So you know about Pokemon Go, but you didn't know what Pikachu was when we referred to that yellow bunny on the shelf behind.
No, I didn't know what Pikachu was.
You didn't connect these two things?
Wait, how, Sway? Like,
They come from the same thing. Like Pikachu
Really?
is a Pokemon. Yeah. Even I know that, and
Oh,
I didn't play Pokemon Go.
that's great.
So anyway, you were talking about. Yeah, I'm sure it's great.
Yeah,
you
so
sound-
there's a similar game, but obviously it's not the same thing. But called Ingress. I don't know if anyone's heard of Ingress, but it's a red versus green team game, and you have to capture certain physical locations for your team, and then the other team can go there and blow it up with their phone and capture it for their team. And I had a friend who was the number one player in South Africa because he didn't have kids, and he'd spend hours before work. He'd get up at like 4 and then drive around Cape Town, capturing all these things until one morning when he made the mistake. He's not Jewish, he's Indian. And there are people who are both, and I call them the Hindus, but that's a different story. And then he was driving through Sea Point down the railroad, and he saw on his phone, this is the red team, have this building, and I'm going to get it for the green. And he stood outside, and he was about to do this thing with his phone when a man came up to him. "Excuse me, sir. What are you doing?" And he said, "No, I'm just trying to blow up this building because it's this thing." And it turned out he picked the synagogue, the Marais Road synagogue, and the CSO were like, "I think you need to step this way, sir." And that's the last time he played Ingress. So,
well,
moral
I
there.
I didn't even know this game existed, but now I'm going to avoid it at all costs. It sounds really lame, and in particular, when you have to bring like anti-Semitism into it, it's probably not for anyone to start playing.
I'm just trying to blow up the synagogue. I mean,
really?
What's wrong with that?
Fucking hell. All right, so how many of the other comics have you been like seeing recently, or do you guys? Because I know you're a pretty tight-knit community in South Africa. Everybody knows everybody. There's, there used to be only a few kind of clubs around. I believe even those have been, decimated. They've been cut right down. So who are the people who you see regularly?
Well, I have been seeing a couple of guys who just started a podcast like everybody else and his dog. And that's Riyadh and KG, Mohadi and Stuart Taylor. Is there one other person? No, it's just we called forefathers. So there's 4 of us. But generally it's difficult to find time to connect because at night we're all generally working. So you see people at gigs. I think that's the main place we connect. And then sometimes we do other stuff, like we have had a couple of cold water immersions. A la Wim Hof in the tidal pool.
Do you think that works? Does that actually help? I've got friends who swear by it. There are people I know who do a cold shower every morning. That cold water immersion just looks like torture.
It is torture for me because I've got Raynaud's syndrome, which is poor circulation to the extremities.
Oh, really? Really? Yeah. That's a thing with you?
It is, yeah. So my hands and my fingers and toes get very sore, actually. Painfully sore.
And it has a name? It's a syndrome?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably a Jewish thing. It's probably right up there with Crohn's.
I get cold in winter too. I'm researching this one.
He's going straight to the doctor after this. Do I have this syndrome? What is it called? Raynaud's syndrome?
Raynaud's. I don't know how to spell it. But I was doing a lot of it actually just before COVID. In fact, we were going a lot, and I do enjoy it. Not for extended periods of time, but it's become a bit of a thing in Cape Town.
You don't want to do that in winter. I mean, winter's hard enough to punish.
I know winter's great as well. Like to get in like during because often the water's warmer in winter as well. So you get in, it's cold. It's actually air temperature is very cold, and you get in and it's amazing. You come out. And,
I'm very happy for you guys. I mean, paddle, cold water immersions. Jesus, Cape Town's training.
What else?
So
God damn it, Cape Town. Jesus.
I don't know how people swim in that ocean. I did Clifton for the first time in my entire life, and I managed about 3 seconds, and I was like, nah, this can be paved. I'm good.
I'm with you.
It's too
Tell
cold.
me, when we talk about Cape Town, and you can be honest with us here because there are people listening from all over South Africa and the world. Do you Cape Townians really because you're nice to people from Joburg because they come and spend their money there in December. But you would prefer if we didn't come, right?
Yeah.
We kind of spoiled. That's honesty. No, because nobody says that. Most of them are like, no. Bring your money. Come, fill our restaurants and our pubs and our beaches and God knows what else. All of
Buy
your
our
shit.
houses, make us homeless.
Right. You can't stand people from here.
Absolutely, yeah.
They've spoiled Cape Town. They've ruined it.
Yeah, completely.
We proper do. We like take over. We buy floral shirts so we fit in and no one can see us. But like we still have the GP number plates. Like you can spot us from a mile away.
You know what's funny is I was talking to my wife's got an uncle in Toronto, and he's from Joburg originally. And I remember asking him, because the Canadians are a little bit similar to Cape Townians in some ways. And I was like, how was it, fitting in when you first arrived? He said, well, no, I mean, there was obviously the culture shock, but they didn't like us. They just didn't like us at all. And I was like, well, what did they say? They said, they said, we're very aggressive. Oaks from Joburg, they said, we're very aggressive. Got no idea why.
Take a chill pill, dude.
It's true.
Just relax.
Right? We bring some of that Joburg anxiety to Cape Town.
Yeah, no, come on, let's get shit done. But you're on holiday. Oh, no.
You guys are super relaxed. Then we come in there with that aggro. And we spoil everything.
I like it. It mixes things up a bit. Come on. It's great.
So you did say in the same video that I saw, you said that you will never leave Cape Town. They'll bury you.
I said the cemetery is much nicer than West Park.
Right. Yeah, but I love this because, South Africans, we tend to be quite down on our own country. Pretty much every other conversation, even when we have guests on the show sometimes, it turns to like, oh, do you know? And I mean, whether this is black or white or old or young or rich or poor, people are already talking about this all the time. They're like, maybe it's time to go somewhere else. But actually, this place is bloody amazing. It is a great place to live, right?
Damn, it is.
Yes, it is. The humor is unmatched. We make a joke out of everything.
Nik Rabinowitz, it's such a pleasure to have you on, as always. Good luck with the show. We're going to all go and see it next week at the Theatre on the Square. All the details will be posted on cliffcentral.com. Do not forget, do not leave it out of your diary. Book those tickets ASAP. Great to have you on the show this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Guys, thanks. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks.
Keep doing the good work. What an amazing human being. Love that guy.
Cool having a comedian on a Friday. Like my energy is like 11 out of 10 at the moment. Like my cheeks are sore from laughing. I'm proper sore over here.
Wow. Here's George. Here, just to add to your fun, Flax, here's George Mienie looking extremely smart.
Wow.
Oh, are you going to something? What's going on? Are you going to a board meeting after this?
I'm going to a Auto Week Business Council meeting at 9:00. So I don't have time to change after this show and then get there and have the meeting. So all of the original equipment manufacturer CEOs will be in this meeting. So, when in Rome, that's the thing.
Looking
you
very
are dressed to impress.
Very stylish.
George is not going to take any prisoners today. All right, George. So what's happening? What do we need to know about this week?
Yeah, so apologies for my Halloween outfit.
Oh, shit, it's Halloween. Of course. This weekend, everyone is dressing up.
They are indeed. So, I may just kind of... but talking about Halloween, Gareth, an electric vehicle is the perfect vehicle to dress up for Halloween and do what's called trick or trunking. And what trick or trunking is wrong one. Sorry about that. What trick or trunking is you can use the frunk of an EV to put your sweets inside.
That's so clever. Of course, if you eat all the sweets in a space like that, you're going to end up with such a sugar high that people are going to want to shoot you in the head. But yeah.
So very good idea. If you do have an EV of the very few EVs that are on the road in South Africa, you can use it for Halloween. But an even better story Gareth, is this the story of a gentleman who buried a car next to his house in California. So you can see
Wait, what?
that's his mansion in California.
Right.
And 6 feet under the ground, there is a Mercedes-Benz that was found in this gentleman's yard next to this mansion. Now, it's a $15 million mansion, this is. And the story goes that this guy's name is Johnny Liu. And Johnny Liu had a history of arrests for murder, attempted murder, and insurance fraud. And this car was buried in his mansion, in his backyard, in Palo Alto, in September of 1992. Now, they didn't find any remains in this car, in this Mercedes-Benz, but they did apparently find some suspicious things inside the car. Why would anybody bury a car next to their house? You've got to be hiding something.
Yeah,
Well-
it has all the evidence.
I know a guy who was so in love with his car that he said to me as a joke, but I don't think he was actually joking. I think he was being quite serious. He was like, when I die one day, I want you to bury me in my car. So some people are so in love with their car that they never want to be parted from it. You know, people often will be buried with like something sentimental, a photograph of someone that they love or whatever. People do that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's so weird that someone might bury themselves in their car, but to bury your car on its own, there must be something hidden in that car that you don't want people to know about, or that you want to keep from people.
Exactly. So this gentleman had a history of being arrested for attempted murder. They didn't find any bodies, but you got to kind of like, when there's a little bit of smoke, there's probably fire. So here's an interesting story. Why are Rolls-Royce cars named, talking about Halloween, why are Rolls-Royce cars named things like Ghost, Phantom, Wraith, Spirit of Halloween? Because have you noticed that Rolls-Royce names their cars these strange names?
I have noticed that, but I have no idea why. Is there a particular sequence to it? Is there some reason that they all have names that have to do with ghosts, spirits, phantoms, you know?
So back in 1907, it started with a car by the name of the Silver Ghost, which was actually called, it had a chassis number 6055. And the name doesn't actually come from Rolls-Royce themselves naming the car the Silver Ghost. The press called it the Silver Ghost. And then it stuck. And from approximately 1925, Rolls-Royce started the trend of calling their cars Ghost and Phantom, etc. So it was actually the press that started the name of the car.
Okay. Well, that's interesting because, usually you'd expect the manufacturer to come up with these names themselves, and it's part of the brand, and there's a story. In this case, it was like a third party who made it up and became popular.
And it became popular, and it just stuck.
George, have you been in a Rolls-Royce yet?
I have. We review these all the time, and quite honest, it feels uncomfortable because it feels foreign. Normal peeps like us get in a car like that, and you're kind of scared to touch stuff because you don't know what's going to break, and then it might be the price of your own car that you're breaking.
Every time I look at it, I'm just like, that driving seat looks like a lounge chair. Like, it's too big. It's like not offering you support. It's too much comfort than actual support.
Yeah, it is actually quite big. If you sit in a Rolls-Royce seat, it does feel like there's more space than in a regular car. Even a largish Mercedes-Benz, it does feel like there's more space.
Oh, I want to go in one. I hear like the doors close. You hear nothing from the outside. The suspension is so good. You feel no bumps. Like, it predicts it for you. Yeah, I need to go in a Rolls-Royce once in my life.
Flax, I'll tell you what, my team are listening to this. And if we get one in the studio again, I'm going to tell them to give you a call so that you can shoot over to the office and
that.
Oh, that's that. You're a gent. You're a proper gent, George.
George, how often do you have Rolls-Royces on Auto Trader for sale?
Not very often, but they do exist. every now and again we will have 1, 2, 3 of them, but not very often.
I sometimes go into Auto Trader and literally just search for the most expensive car. I like always want to know what it is. Like those G63 like 8-wheelers are like so expensive.
Yeah. I mean, if you look on our platform at the moment, so that's what's on our platform at the moment.
There it is. How much is it?
The most expensive car is more than likely this McLaren. It's usually the McLarens, but you have to inquire to get the price. But this Mercedes-Benz G-Class is 17, 18 million rand.
Good Lord.
Holy shit.
What?
Hi, Simphiwe, how's that? You thought...
Wait. Now I just need to do some research, George. Do people buy this cash? And do you also know the people that buy these cars? You know, just asking for myself.
Yeah, Simphiwe's husband.
No. So Simphiwe, I don't know the people that buy these cars, but you know, when you're buying a car for 17, 18 million rand, you know, these are people worth 300, 400, 500 million rand. They're not buying the car using debt.
Wow. And do people get to test drive like a car that expensive?
They probably get the car brought to their house to test drive. That's probably what happens.
Sometimes no, but sometimes they don't. Someone won't even drive it to your house. It'll come on a truck because they don't want to add kilometers before they sell it, right?
Exactly. And quite often people don't. People that buy cars at that price, they don't often test drive them. They have many of these toys, and they'll buy it straight out of the showroom. They know what they want. You know, this isn't a kind of search and select budgetary thing with people up there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we know what the most expensive car is on Auto Trader. Can you go on there quickly and show us the cheapest car for sale on Auto Trader right now?
What's in our budget? What's in our budget?
Simphiwe
and Flax and I are looking more around this number.
Yeah.
So if we flip the price to low high, we will see that the cheapest car is a Volvo S40 for 99, or a VW Polo Player for 20 grand.
That was like my first car.
It is your first car. It's still on Auto Trader for sale.
Okay. All right.
So those
not
are
as stylish, but very affordable.
I mean, I suppose it's quite evident of the divide that we find ourselves living in the world today. You know, 18 million rand car versus a 20,000 rand car.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, listen, there's a small but extremely powerful market that buys those high-end cars, and there are just so many people who, you know, can't even look at something over 100,000 rand for a car. They'll only be shopping in that lower market. So, I mean, this is why it's interesting to have you on every week, because it's kind of a bit of a microcosm. It's a snapshot of the economy in some ways. I mean, often when we talk to you about things like the petrol price or the vehicle prices for all of these different cars that you sell, it kind of gives you a little bit of insight into what's happening in South Africa's economy.
Exactly. I think the automotive industry is a very good indicator of our economy. So spot on. And then very lastly, Gareth, cars that you probably don't want to drive because of their connotation to Halloween. Now, this first car, everybody will recognize. Would you be found in this particular car, which is the one that John F. Kennedy got assassinated in?
First of all, I can't imagine there are too many of them around. Second of all, if I believe that actual car is in a museum.
Yes, it
somewhere.
is.
Yeah. What is it even called? What is it?
It's a Lincoln limousine. That's what it's called.
Okay. All right.
Lincoln limousine. So that's the first car you might not want to find yourself in. The second car you might not want to find yourself in is this particular car made in 1914, or should I say driven in 1914. This car is in a museum as well. But this car was the catalyst that started World War I and killed no less than 13 people.
Jeez, what happened to it?
Sure.
So the person that drove this car was a guy that got assassinated. I can't even pronounce his name. It was Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Archduke Franz Ferdinand. That was the car that he was driving in that started World War I, effectively.
Correct.
His assassination in modern Serbia is what started the First World War. And that is also probably in a museum.
That is in a museum, and it killed no less than 13 people, that car.
No. If you add up all the deaths of World War I, it killed about
much more, yes.
20, 30 million people.
That's correct. So would you want to be found in that car in Halloween? I think not. And then the last two cars that you might not want to be found in over Halloween is the car that Bonnie and Clyde were killed in.
Oh shit! Look at that, with all the bullet holes still in it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That was a serious drive-by. Look at that.
A serious drive-by, exactly. So you might not want to be caught dead or alive in one of those. And here's a funny story, Gareth. James Dean bought this Porsche 550 Spider. And one of his friends, when he bought the Spider and was showing it off to his friends, one of his friends said to him, "You're going to be dead in a week in that car." Guess what? 1 week later, he died.
Was dead
in the car.
But did he die in that car, or did he die on a motorbike? I can never remember.
Yeah, you might be right. But he smashed into a wall. He smashed into a wall.
Wow.
So would you want to be caught dead or alive in any of those cars?
Hell no. Definitely not. All right, George, thank you very much for a lovely end to our week. And thank you for joining us this morning. That's George Mienie, CEO of Auto Trader, looking very CEO-like this morning with his tie and his shirt on. It's much smarter than us. Flax and Simphiwe, thank you for taking care of the first hour of this morning's show when I had been useless and overslept. And we will see you on Monday at 6 a.m. I promise, bright and early. It happens from time to time. This is cliffcentral.com. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.